Alright, Celtic faithful, gather round, because what was supposed to be a feel-good story this summer has already taken a frustrating turn. Kieran Tierney, the prodigal son and fan favourite, was all set to make a triumphant return to Celtic Park. But just as the buzz was starting to build, the left back has hit a familiar roadblock, injury. And not just any knock, but one serious enough to pull him out of international duty with Scotland. He was part of the squad that faced Iceland in a bruising 3-1 defeat at Hampton. But anyone watching that match could tell Tierney wasn't. Quite himself. He looked off the pace a step behind and lacking the usual sharpness that fans have come to associate with him. Now we know why. According to Steve Clark, Tierney arrived at the national team camp already nursing a knock. And that changes everything. This news couldn't have come at a worse time for Brendan Rodgers. The Celtic boss had been making preparations to slot Tierney straight into his plans after what had been shaping up to be a major summer storyline. The return of one of the club's most beloved academy graduates. With preseason just around. The corner and competitive fixtures looming, Rodgers was counting on having his squad as close to full strength as possible. Instead, he's now facing uncertainty over a key position that's already under pressure. Let's be honest, Tierney's injury history is no secret. From his days at Arsenal to his recent stint in Spain with Real Sociedad, fitness has always been a concern. So when he was selected for a meaningless friendly and then visibly struggled through it, the decision was always going to attract criticism. And now, with confirmation that he was already carrying an issue before the match, those questions only grow louder. Why take the risk? Why push a player with his record into action when the stakes were so low? For Celtic fans, the bigger issue is clear. Will this setback derail his start to the new season? Because make no mistake, a fully fit Tierney changes the dynamic of this Celtic team. His pace down the left, his aggression in a tackle, and his ability to drive the ball forward are assets that few others in the squad can replicate. Add to that the emotional connection he has with the supporters and the club itself. And it's no wonder that his potential return was being talked about with such excitement. But all of that hinges on one simple thing: his availability. If he can't stay fit, the feel-good narrative disappears fast. Instead of a homecoming, it becomes another frustrating chapter in what's become a stop-start carrier. Now it's not just about Tierney anymore, with Greg Taylor on his way out and heading to Greece. Celtic are suddenly looking quite thin at left back. Taylor, for all the debate about his consistency, was a reliable presence. His departure opens up a massive void, and the pressure on Tierney to fill it becomes even greater. That's assuming, of course, that he's healthy enough to do so. At this point, that's anything but certain. Steve Clark's own words after the Iceland match offer a bit more context. He admitted that both Tierney and Scott McTominay had arrived at the Scotland camp dealing with lingering issues from the season. He even suggested that if there had been more time between matches, maybe they could have featured properly. But with the season already over for both, Clark made it clear that rest is the priority. That might be fine from a national team perspective, but it does nothing to ease concerns at Celtic Park. Supporters were dreaming of Tierney leading the charge down the flank, not sitting out through another spell of rehab. There's also the bigger picture to consider. Tierney hasn't had a full, consistent run of matches in years. His time at Arsenal started brightly, but was constantly interrupted by knocks and niggles. At Real Sociedad, it was more the same. He's never quite managed to string together the kind of form that once made him one of the most promising left-backs in Europe. And that's what Celtic are hoping to rediscover. The old Tierney, the relentless, hard-tackling, attack-minded fullback, who wore his heart on his sleeve and never took a backward step. That's the player the fans are waiting for. But to get him, the club's medical and coaching staff are going to have to handle this very carefully. Because managing Tierney won't be as simple as throwing him into the starting 11 and hoping for the best. He needs a tailored plan, careful minutes monitored recovery, and strategic rotation. Celtic have ambitions on multiple fronts this season, including Europe, and they'll need every ounce of depth and durability to make it through. If Tierney is going to be part of that, they can't afford any more false starts. And yet, despite all the caution, despite all the setbacks, there's still a sense of hope. Tierney's love for the club has never wavered. He's spoken openly about what Celtic means to him, and the chance to return home has clearly been on his mind for a while. It's not just a transfer for him, it's personal. It's about reconnecting with the fans, the stadium, and the badge he grew up with. That kind of passion isn't something you can teach. It's either in a player's blood or it's not. And with Tierney, it clearly is. But passion alone won't keep you on the pitch. Sentiment doesn't heal hamstrings. The cold reality is that Celtic need players who can contribute week in and week out. The Scottish Premiership is relentless, and that's before you even factor in cup competitions and European nights. Rodgers will need to know he can count on Tierney not just emotionally, but physically. If he can stay fit, there's no doubt he'll be one of the first names on a team sheet, but that if looms large over everything right now. And as preseason edges closer, all eyes will be on his recovery. Will he be ready in time? Will he be eased in or thrown straight into action? These are the questions buzzing around Lennoxtown right now, and the answers could shape the early narrative of Celtic's season. Because a healthy Kieran Tierney isn't just a luxury, he could be the difference maker in a campaign that promises to be as demanding as any the club has faced in recent years. So now, as the days tick by and the season draws closer, Celtic fans find themselves in that all too familiar position of waiting and hoping. Hoping that this latest knock isn't serious. Hoping that the signs from the medical team are positive. Hoping that Tierney can finally put together a sustained spell without breaking down. And in the meantime, Brendan Rodgers and his staff will be working behind the scenes, crafting contingency plans because they can't afford to pin all their hopes on one player, no matter how special he is to the club. It's a delicate balance. On one hand, you've got a player who represents the soul of Celtic, a homegrown talent who has lifted trophies, played with pride, and always left everything on the pitch. On the other, you've got a body that has betrayed him too many times in recent years. There's no room for sentimentality when trophies are on the line. Rodgers knows that better than anyone. He's been in this position before needing to make hard calls about beloved players. And if Tierney can't prove his durability early on, there might be difficult decisions ahead. This isn't just about one individual either. Celtic's defensive unit as a whole is undergoing a shift. With Greg, Taylor gone, and the left flank in flux, the team needs solidity. Depth is key. Injuries happen, suspensions crop up, and when the fixture list starts piling up, midweek games away, trips in Europe, high-pressure derbies, you need players who can step in and maintain the standard. That's why there's growing talk about bringing in reinforcements, maybe another left back to ease the pressure. It wouldn't be a slight on Tierney. It would be simple pragmatism. Because if this club has European ambitions and domestic dominance in its sights, it cannot afford to gamble everything on a player with a fragile fitness record. But that doesn't mean Tierney won't get his shot. Far from it. In fact, if he can come through this setback and get himself fit for the start of the season, or even a few weeks in, there's every chance he could make the position his own again. The supporters will back him to the hilt. There's a kind of loyalty that only comes from watching someone come through the youth system, succeed, and then return with unfinished business. The terraces will erupt the moment he pulls on the green and white hoops again. That kind of energy can carry a player, especially one who already has the skill and mentality to thrive at this level. But it needs to be built on a foundation of physical stability. The coaching staff will be aware of that. Expect them to take no chances in preseason. Tierney won't be rushed, not this time. Every sprint, every tackle, every minute on the training ground will be measured, because one misstep could set him back again, and the club can't afford that. It's not just about being fit, it's about staying fit. It's about building a body that can withstand the grind of a long campaign, not just flash moments of brilliance followed by weeks on the sideline. And make no mistake, the campaign ahead will be relentless. Celtic will be fighting on multiple fronts and the pressure will be immense. From the first kickoff to the final whistle of the season, there will be little room for error. Every drop point will be scrutinized, every injury magnified. That's the reality of being at the top in Scottish football. The expectations never let up. And for a player like Tierney who thrives under pressure but has to manage his own physical limits, that creates a fine line to walk. There's also a tactical evolution happening under Rodgers. The manager has made it clear that he wants his fullbacks to contribute not just defensively, but offensively as well. He wants them overlapping, linking with the midfield, delivering dangerous balls into the box. Tierney at his peak does that better than almost anyone in the league. He was built for that kind of football. Aggressive, fast-paced, and fearless. But to do it over 30-plus matches week in, week out, he needs a level of robustness that's eluded him in recent seasons. Whether that's something he can recapture now after years of stop-start football is the great unknown. And what of the Psychological side, coming back to a club like Celtic with all the love and expectations can be a blessing, but also a burden. Tierney knows that the fans are rooting for him. He knows that every touch he makes will be cheered, every defensive play applauded. But he also knows that if the injuries persist, if the performances fall short, criticism will follow. And that's the double edge of being a hero at a big club. The fall when it comes is just as dramatic as the rise. How he handles that pressure could be just as important as how his body holds up. There's no doubt that he's mentally strong. You don't survive in the English Premier League and bounce back from multiple injuries without resilience. But returning home brings different challenges. This isn't about proving himself into a new set of fans or adapting to a foreign system. This is about living up to the memories people already have of him. That's a different kind of weight to carry. And for someone who wears his heart on his sleeve like Tierney does, it can be both motivating and draining. Meanwhile, the rest of the squad is watching closely. The dressing room knows what he brings, not just as a player, but as a presence. His return could lift the entire group, bring an edge to training, inspire the younger lads coming through. That's the intangible value of someone like Tierney. His influence goes beyond the 90 minutes on the pitch. But again, that influence only matters if he's there week after week, driving standards and setting the tone. So here we are, on the cusp of a new season with one of Celtic's own poised to make his second debut. It's a moment filled with emotion, anticipation, and uncertainty. The dream scenario is clear. Tierney shakes off the knock breezes through preseason and starts the campaign flying down the wing like he never left. But the reality might be more complicated. The medical team will need to be cautious. The manager will need to be strategic. And the fans, as passionate as ever, will need to be patient. Because this isn't just about one match or even one season. It's about the long-term picture. It's about giving Tierney the best possible chance to succeed. Not just emotionally, but physically, professionally. If Celtic get it right, if they manage him properly, and Tierney responds with the form we all know he's capable of, this could be one of the stories of the season. A hero returns, overcomes adversity, and leads his boyhood club to glory. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers are beginning to swirl around the green half of Glasgow. And if the rumors are to be believed, a certain rising star from the east could be making Paradise his new home. Word on the street is that Japanese forward KEITA KOSUG has signed a 4-year deal with Celtic. Though, as is often the case in these parts, nothing's been officially confirmed. Yet, the Parkhead faithful know well the magic that players from Japan can bring. Ever since the arrival of Kyogo Furuhashi, Celtic's connection with the J-League has proven fruitful. Now, with murmurs growing louder each day, it looks like the Hoops may have pulled off another quiet coup. KEITA KOSUG, only in his early 20s, has been turning heads with his electric pace, sharp movement, and eye for goal. Reports suggest he's already been in Glasgow for a medical, with some claiming they spotted him near Lennoxtown earlier this week. If the supposed 4-year deal is indeed true, the club could be banking on him becoming the next cult hero to grace Celtic Park. Some sources close to the club have been unusually tight-lipped, but that hasn't stopped supporters from speculating. Social media is already awash with clips of Kosugi's goals in Japan, fans analyzing his style, and even a few bold souls predicting he could start against Rangers in the next derby. Celtic have long had an eye for talent under the radar, and the Japanese market has become something of a goldmine for them. Kosugi's potential arrival fits that mold. Not a household name, yet, but one who could thrive under the bright lights of the SPFL. Of course, nothing's official until it's on the club's site, scarf held high. But in the meantime, the green and white rumor mill keeps turning. Could KEITA KOSUG be the next big name to write his story in the Celtic annals? Time, as always in football, will tell. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.